Hi YouTube. Today we're going to be looking at yet another Colt. This is a Colt that doesn't need any introduction. This is the famous Colt Python 357 Magnum. And before we get a little bit more in depth with this thing, I'm going to let you know that nobody's going to get hurt because this Colt Python does not have anything in it. It is empty. So, the Colt Python was introduced in 1955. It was meant to be a premium revolver. Their revolvers were looking a little dated, so they decided to give them a little bit of upgrade and make them look a little bit more modern. So what they did is they added this full underlug on it. They added this ventilated rib. They were just meant to make a premium target revolver. So this thing was born. And so the features of it has a large spurred hammer, target grips, walnut grips with raised checkering on it, and done all the internals. Everything on this gun was hand fit. It was the premium of all revolvers, and it was an instant success when they released this gun. So only a few select people worked on these things, and they hand fit everything together. Anything that didn't fit or anything, they had to use hand files and stones and all that. The original ones were released in what they call the royal blue finish. It's a gorgeous finish. They hand polish these things down before the bluing's put on, and they almost look wet when you see them. Later on, they offered them in nickel plating, which looks very similar to this one. And in the early 80s, they discontinued the nickel. They continued to make the blue one, and they started making them in stainless, and that's what this one is. And the stainless, they offered them in two different finishes. They offered them in a matte or satin stainless, and they offered them in this bright stainless. This is a high polished bright stainless. It looks just like the nickel ones used to look. This particular gun was made in 1984. It is a factory bright stainless 4-inch Colt Python. So I'm going to go over a few things about the Colt Python that you may know or not know. First, we'll start with the craftsmanship on it. Every edge on these things are rounded off, and it's perfectly fit together. This is kind of like buying a Swiss watch, like a Rolex watch. You aren't going to see any imperfections on these things. They're all perfect in every way. All the trigger is all finished off. The hammer's all finished off. It has adjustable target sights on it for windage and elevation. This is going to be your sight picture on it. The back strap is serrated right here. If you open this gun up and move it all around, you don't hear any rattling, any shakes, anything like that. Nothing's really loose fitting on it. But the main claim to fame to this gun is this action. So when you hold this gun and you pull this hammer back, if you've never done it, you're never going to see another revolver that works like this. This action on this gun, it is so smooth the way this thing works. No other revolver works like this. And we're going to do the single action on it and show you how this trigger is. It's maybe 2 pounds to do that. Do it one more time. And the double action is also insane. It's just so smooth. That's what these things were known for, was their trigger work. When you hold the trigger down, this gave Colt their famous bank vault tight lockup system. Now, everybody wants one of these, and they became really famous. They made them all the way up until 1999 in the normal production facility. And they stopped making them in 1999 in the regular production. They moved it into what they call the custom shop. when they moved them into the custom shop, you had to special order them, and the roll marks on them said Python Elite on them. That doesn't mean it was anything any more special than this one. It just meant that it was a custom shop gun and it wasn't made during the normal production times. But some of the wingnut collectors have gone a little crazy with stuff like that, and these things are expensive. So the reason they stopped making this gun is the cost of production got so high on it because of all the handwork that had to be done and the skilled labor people that were assembling them, that the demand went down. And if you set this gun in a gun case next to like a Smith & Wesson or a Ruger, this gun usually costs about twice as much as a Smith & Wesson or Ruger. And people would go in there and wanting to buy a .357 Magnum, and how do you justify spending double when you could buy two of the other ones, or you could buy a Ruger and a Smith & Wesson for what one of these costs? So the sales started to deplenish. Colt was also in a lot of financial troubles. They had a military contract to satisfy with their ARs, so they ceased making revolvers altogether in 1999, besides these ones few they made in the custom shop. And these things went away shortly thereafter. You could still get one to about 2004 or 2005 in the custom shop, but they were pretty expensive. I think they were around $1,200 was the final release price on them, and they weren't selling very much at all because of the price, and people don't know how to sell stuff, and they just don't know how to explain why these things cost that much, and they just went away. They instantly became super collectible. When you stop making something, the demand goes up because they aren't readily as available, so the price starts going up to them. Well, then about 2010, a TV show came on called The Walking Dead, and it was a real popular TV show, and the main character on there carried a Colt Python. It looked just like this one, only it was a 6-inch barrel one, and people went nuts about this thing. I mean, the price went through the roof. This thing's been featured in video games for all the gamers that sit in their mom's basement at 3 o'clock in the morning and play Call of Duty and stuff like that. This gun's in that. I mean, it's just been in Dirty Harry movies, Magnum Force, and all that. It's like everybody knows that look with that ventilated rib on it, the Colt Python. So the prices skyrocketed, especially after the Walking Dead thing came out. And these things commanded a very high price. We're talking thousands of dollars to buy one of these things. And every day Colt would get phone calls asking, when are you going to bring back the Colt Python? We'd like to have a Colt Python. And many folks thought, myself included, there's no way they're ever going to bring that gun back because of the handwork required that goes in. You just don't have skilled people like that anymore. And people don't appreciate things or take pride in their jobs that they do. And that's a shame, but it's the sad truth. Well, Colt did re-release the Colt Python in 2020, and I have another video comparing this gun next to it. They did a pretty good job on it. It's not hand fit. They use modern CNC machinery, and they got it pretty close to this one, I must say myself. I was very impressed with it. But people ask if this gun's better than the new one. I mean, I really don't know how to answer that. If I had my choice between the two, I would choose this one if the price wasn't an issue. Price is going to be an issue. I mean, these things are quite a bit more expensive than the old ones, but if I would choose this one just because of this nostalgia of having the original one with the original grips, the original everything, the original handwork. There's a couple differences in them, like the big hammer spur and the curved trigger and all that on the new ones. But yeah, I'd rather have this one over the new one. But if I couldn't afford to buy one of these, I wouldn't be upset at all with just having one of the new ones because they are pretty nice. But these guns are pretty amazing. They are super expensive. This is what every gun's compared to. So you get the Smith & Wesson crowd that like the 686s and all that, and they say it's just as good as a Colt Python, or if I do this amount of work to it, it's as good as a Colt Python. And I did a video with my Smith & Wesson 686, compared it side by side. It's not the same as a Colt Python. Nothing's going to be the same as this Colt Python. Out of all the guns that I own, and I have a bunch of them, this one's in the top 2 of the ones that I own. There's a lot of rumors going around about these things, about them being fragile, and that they get out of time and all that. I don't know of anybody personally who's had more experience with these guns than myself, and I'm not saying that to pat myself on the back, but I've handled a lot of them. I've had a lot of them. I've shot a lot of them. I've never had a problem with it. I think it's all rumor. They're not fragile. If you do have any problems with a Colt Python, like an older one like this, you are going to have a lot of problems finding somebody that can work on them. If you have like a Smith & Wesson 686 and you want to put a Jerry Michalik spring kit in it, you could probably YouTube it and figure it out. You're probably not going to be able to YouTube this one and figure it out. It's pretty complicated action inside here, and it is crazy on the inside of one of these things. But I don't think you'd have any problems with it. I've shot hundreds of rounds through this. I wanted to do this video outside so in the natural light so you can see the finish on it. And here you're seeing all the fingerprints, and it's under direct light and everything, and it doesn't look as good. This gun's amazing, and I have a couple videos like comparing it to my Smith & Wesson 686 where it's out in natural light and you can see what it really looks like outside. But the finish on this gun is amazing. This is, like I said, this is in my top 2 of firearms that I own. Usually the people, and I'm not saying anything bad about anything like this, but the people that talk trash about this gun is usually the people that would take one in a heartbeat if they could figure out how to financially do it. But they don't, so they insult things, and that's usually what the American public do, folks. If you don't have something, you'll insult it, and there's no reason to do that. There's nothing wrong with these guns. It's a good possibility that I'm going to take this gun this weekend and shoot it. We got a range trip planned, and one of the people going just got their first Colt Python. I helped them get it. It's a 4-inch blued one, and I may take this one to go as well. And one of the things that if I do that, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to make a video of how dirty this thing gets, and I'm going to show all the white glovers out there how to clean it and keep it and have it looking brand new. I mean, because this gun's 40 years old and it still looks brand new because I take care of it. I do not handle it with white gloves. I do not lock it away in a safe and not shoot it. I enjoy it, and then when I'm done, I clean it. I mean, it's very simple. These collectors is what's driven these things so expensive that the average man just can't go buy one, and it's a shame because I think everybody should own one of these things. I honestly do. I think everybody should own one of these, and if anybody handled one of these and had the financial way to get one, they would buy one in a heartbeat because there's nothing like it. This is like buying a Nighthawk Custom or a Wilson Combat or a Cabot 1911. It's just a piece of art. It's well crafted. It's when people cared about their jobs and cared about the product they put out, and unfortunately that's not the case today. People don't seem to care about craftsmanship or anything. But anyway, folks, this isn't a rant on how bad people are, but people are what they are today. But this is a really cool gun. It's of course it's chambered in .357 Magnum. It is super accurate. We know what I think about the word accurate. I'm not certain whether this gun would take out a grizzly bear or not. I don't know. This wouldn't be my first choice. I'd probably go with the 45 ACP. I was going to take out a grizzly bear. Oh, it's a joke for a reference for one of my little YouTube shorts that people lost their mind over. Taking out a grizzly bear. But anyway, if you have any questions on this is probably one of the ones that I'm the most knowledgeable on. It's Colt Python. I'd be happy to answer it for you. I've tried to cover about everything that I can possibly think of to cover with this. It hasn't already been said, but it is a Colt Python. It is an older one, and it is in really good condition. And thank you very much for watching my video, and you folks have a great day.